right, welcome back to another episode of Punisher Talk. My name is Ellie, and I'm host of Punisher Talk. And in this podcast, we talk about all things related to remote work, the digital nomad life, living abroad, and any personal growth journeys related to that. And today's episode is still a little bit of a special one because it's basically birthday episode part 2, because I just turned 30 last week. And it had me thinking a lot about, what I used to think my life would be like at this age, at age 30. I used to think I had the whole package, career, stability, maybe a house, husband, some kids on the way, the whole thing. But here I am, and I have none of the traditional boxes checked. But somehow I'm still very much enjoying my life right now. And yeah, everything turned out much better than I thought it would. So this episode is kind of like a letter of gratitude to, how my life unfolded instead. I feel like growing up, we have this like imaginary checklist of things to do by the time you're 30. So number one, there's like the job. You have to have you have your career progression, the promotions, the pay raises, the stability. And actually, I did that for a while, but it turned out that wasn't really for me. I couldn't really stick with it. And now I'm doing a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Nobody really knows what I'm doing. I'm not really sure where it's going to lead. Some podcasting, some hiking, some blogging, some community work, a little bit of everything. But I'm really enjoying it. I'm enjoying every little thing of it about it. So I think that's okay. You always think about having a house, having a home, especially because um, I grew up in a small town where everybody had like the single family houses. And my friends that are still living at home, they're all in this stage now where they're talking about buying a house or building a house or buying land so that they can then build their own house and spend the weekends basically building their own house. And I'm just like listening to this thinking, oh no, this is not for me. This feels like so far out of reach for me. I don't know if I'm ever gonna do that, but right now is not the time. Because actually I just moved in with roommates again. I lived by myself, but now 2 weeks ago I moved in with roommates, which weirdly it feels like a step backwards for me initially, but when I think about it, because you always think about, oh, living with roommates, like, can you not afford your own place? I mean, no, I can't. I could if I wanted to, but that's just not where I want to spend my money. And also, I really enjoy living with people. And if you think about it, I think it's quite the accomplishment that, after just 6 months on this island, I already found 2 friends that are willing to move in with me. So I feel like that's a step forward in the friendship department instead of a step backwards in life. So it's, I guess, all a matter of perspective. Yeah, then there's the whole like marriage and kids things with honestly with the travel lifestyle that I've been living that has just like not been on my radar. So sorry, grandma, to disappoint. But the thing is, like, all these expectations, like, they're not really mine. Like, it's maybe my grandma thinking, it may come from our cultures, from media, movies that we've seen, like comparing ourselves to our parents. Like I always used to think, oh, my mom had me when she was 29, having kids by 30 would be nice. And then there's my grandma constantly asking about, oh, are you dating anybody? Is there a man in your life? Then grandma was always like, oh, don't worry, like they will come. There's plenty of men. And I'm just thinking, like, I'm not the one who's worried. Grandma, you are worried. I'm not worried. I'm really enjoying my life right now. And I think that's the thing. Like, all of these check boxes that we're trying to reach, like, originally, they didn't really come from me, but we still have this pressure to, like, having to have these things figured out, like, having to have it all figured out. Um, which is really stupid in a way. But as I was, thinking about this for this episode, I realized I have a lot of things figured out. I do have quite a few things figured out. Like, I just moved to Portugal and to this new apartment, and we managed to set up our water and electric account, for example. Like, that is not easy. If anybody knows what I'm talking about. Because you can't just go online. You have to like take pictures of some meters and then go to different offices, trying to communicate with people that don't speak English, finding friends that have Portuguese phone numbers and bank accounts that you can put down because they don't accept other European ones. And it is quite the hassle. It's quite the accomplishment to figure these things out. Also, just yesterday, I was putting together a shoe rack for the new apartment. Um, while my male roommate and friends, they were both watching me put together this shoe rack. Me just being an independent, strong woman, and I was quite proud of myself. I had that figured out, you know? These are the kind of things I figured out through life, like being self-sufficient, being independent, figuring out like which path to take to align with my values, figuring out like what I want to do with my career to focus on like things that bring meaning to my life instead of just going for the reputation and the pay raises. I don't have a husband in a house, but I do think that I have quite a lot of experiences and lessons from the past couple of years that other people, you know, may never get to live in their life. And I think that's quite valuable. So I was trying to think about when did I choose to go down that untraditional path, let's say. And if I did have to pinpoint it, like when it all changed, I think it was when I was around 24. Because I used to like follow quite the traditional path, you know, school, college, work, boyfriends, living together, all of that. Like at that time at 24, I had a stable relationship, very toxic one, very toxic but stable, I guess, in a way. We were living together, we had pets together, we had talked about being getting engaged at one point, and I was just finishing my master's degree, ready to like kickstart my career. But then all of a sudden, like within 6 months or so, everything fell apart. I don't know what happened. It started with the relationship that I ended, which thank God for that. But also then I had to move, and I ended up moving into this like complete shit shack. We literally called it a shit shack with like some college roommates, and it was not pretty. It was a mess. Then also COVID hit just as I graduated, so I couldn't go through with any of the original plans that I had after graduation. So I was living in the US at the time. My visa expired. I actually had to leave the country because it was COVID. It was a mess, and I moved back in with my parents and basically started from zero. And yeah, not pretty, but I guess looking back, it was kind of like a blessing in disguise in a way. Because I feel like piece by piece, as I started like rebuilding my life after that, I started to go I started to go like different ways in directions that I actually wanted to go. And I started to quit jobs when I didn't like them, frequently actually. I started experimenting more with different things. I started traveling a lot, seeing a lot of different places. I started, some creative outlets like blogging or doing some YouTube videos and just like fun little things. And all of these little experiments, they brought me so much more joy than like any of the traditional office jobs that I had done. All of the people that I got to meet along the journey were so valuable from like everywhere around the world. And now if I look back, like my friends are literally just like I have friends all around the world in all different like stages of life from all different backgrounds. There's like kindergarten teachers, startup founders, freelance nomads who don't really know what they're doing. There's artists. It's just like so valuable to have all these people from all these different backgrounds in my life for like literally any sort of advice I could ever need in my life. I've traveled to so many places, lived in different places, and I think that traveling is really what pushed me so much out of my comfort zone and like challenged me in so many ways, just like with everyday situations, that now I feel like I can handle basically any situation. Like that shoe rack yesterday was nothing because traveling by yourself was quite wild. I remember one time I was stuck in Guatemala. I was traveling in Guatemala, which is a beautiful country. I wish I could have stayed longer, but I was there in like a small little beach town, and some political riots started breaking out all over the country. Overnight, they issued a bunch of travel warnings not to go. I mean, I was already there, but they also blocked all of the streets. There was no way to get back to the airport, really. All the shuttles were not running. So I was just like in this hostel on the beach trying to figure out what to do. But I didn't panic. I was just like, going through my options one by one. What could I do? And 2 days later, I made my way out of the country. So that happened, but I stayed calm through the entire thing. And so nowadays, I feel like it really takes like a hurricane, or not even a hurricane, because I lived in Florida. I'm used to hurricanes. Like, I don't know what it takes to get me out of my calm. Sometimes I wonder if I've gotten too chill with things, but also I feel like it fits a lifestyle, like Portuguese island life here in Madeira now. So I fit right in with that, I think, because yeah, I love living. I love living here, the island life, doing what I love. Some podcasting, some hikes, lots of hikes, building community, making friends, and yeah, actually just last weekend when I had my birthday party, I looked around and honestly I realized like I'm so grateful for the life that I've built here on Madeira because so many people offered help with the party setting up, the venue, the DJ preparations, food, drinks, anything. People showed up, they brought thoughtful gifts. My roommate gave a speech. It was just so touching to see that so many people cared. And I've only been here for 6 months. And yeah, somehow I managed to find this amazing community here and build this beautiful life where I'm just, sitting here looking out on the ocean, podcasting on a Wednesday afternoon. And yeah, so don't tell me I don't have my life figured out, The traditional boxes are not checked, but, the boxes that I do have right now seem pretty great. I mean, I'm not saying I have my whole life figured out. I don't think anybody ever has their whole life figured out. But I do think that, like, in this moment, or like this phase of my life, it's going quite well. Not to jinx it, knock on wood. But so for this phase, I'm pretty grateful for what it is, and that's really all I can ask for right now. Because life is not a checklist that you can complete by the age of 30. Life is kind of like a never-ending to-do list, I think. You check off one thing, you add three more. Somebody emails you, you meet a new person, you add two more tasks. Like, basically like that. It's messy. It's a bit agile. I really don't want to say agile because it reminds me of like agile development, project management things that I used to do in my previous career. But in a way, it is like that, You have to, constantly adapt, test, try out new things, write new requirements, throw it all away, start all over, fix some bugs. Basically, that's life, I guess, in your 30s. And yeah, all I can do right now is trying to keep a functioning product going and trying to fix some bugs along the way without creating too many new ones. And yeah, right now, going pretty well, I think. So if you're listening and your life is not exactly the way that you had imagined it, I don't think that's a failure. I think that's maybe just something that you didn't see coming. And I think a lot of times it will probably be better than what you imagined originally. So yeah, just be grateful for what you have fun with it, go one thing at a time, and just, yeah, enjoy what you're doing. So thank you for listening to me rambling in this podcast. I hope some of you can relate, and for more wise words of wisdom, don't forget to subscribe to Poncha Talk and follow on social media for frequent updates and life stories. And I hope to see you again in the next episode. Thank you. Bye.